She had been chosen. Perfectly polished. Carefully approved by a mother who controlled everything, including her son's heart. But Ethan Vale had a problem. The bride his mother adored wasn't the woman who made his heart race. And then he saw her, the girl with soil-stained hands, messy hair, and a smile that didn't care who he was. In that instant, Ethan realized everything his mother thought she could control was about to go spectacularly wrong. Because when love shows up uninvited, even a billionaire can't keep it out. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more romantic stories. When Ethan Vale walked into the grand dining hall of the Vale estate, he already knew what awaited him, another carefully arranged introduction, another perfect woman selected by his mother. Across the long marble table sat Clara Whitmore, elegant, poised, and exactly the kind of bride Mrs. Vale adored. She smiled politely, her posture flawless, her words rehearsed. "Ethan," his mother began smoothly, "Clara comes from a wonderful family. She's accomplished, graceful, and..." "Chosen," Ethan interrupted quietly, pulling out his chair. "Like all the others." Mrs. Vale stiffened. Clara's smile faltered, just for a second. Ethan sat, but his attention drifted, not to Clara, not to his mother, but to the far corner of the room, where a young woman stood arranging flowers. She wore no designer dress, no diamonds, just a simple linen blouse, sleeves rolled slightly, completely absorbed in her work. "Who is that?" he asked, nodding subtly. His mother barely glanced over. "Oh, her? That's Lina Reyes. Temporary help. She's leaving by the end of the week." Ethan didn't respond immediately. For the first time that evening, something about the room felt real. The next morning, he found her in the garden. Lina knelt beside a row of roses, humming softly as she trimmed a stem. She didn't notice him at first. "You're cutting them too short," Ethan said. She looked up, startled, but instead of bowing or apologizing like most people did around him, she frowned slightly. "I'm not," she replied. "They'll grow back stronger." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "You sound very certain." "I am," she said, standing and brushing her hands together. "Flowers aren't about perfection. They're about patience." That caught him off guard. Most people tried to impress him. Lina didn't seem to care who he was. "I'm Ethan," he said. "I know," she replied simply. "You own the house." He almost laughed. Days passed, and Ethan found himself seeking her out, by the garden, in the kitchen, even in the quiet corners of the estate where no one else paid attention. With Lina, conversations were effortless. She talked about small things, sunlight, scents, how different flowers bloomed at different times, but somehow, those small things felt bigger than any business deal he'd ever closed. "You don't like being told what to do," she observed one afternoon as they sat beneath a tree. "That obvious?" he asked. She smiled. "You're here, aren't you? Instead of inside planning your wedding." Ethan exhaled, leaning back. "It's not my wedding." "It will be," Lina said gently. He turned to her. "What if I don't want it to be?" For the first time, she hesitated. "Then, don't," she said. It sounded so simple. Too simple. Meanwhile, inside the house, Mrs. Vale grew impatient. "Clara is perfect for you," she insisted one evening. "You need stability, not distractions." Ethan's jaw tightened. "You mean I need someone you approve of?" "I mean," she said firmly, "you need someone who belongs in your world." But Ethan had already begun to question what his world really meant. Because when he was with Lina, everything felt different, lighter, freer, real. On Lina's last day, the garden looked more beautiful than ever. Flowers bloomed in perfect harmony, colors blending like a painting. Ethan found her standing in the center, as if she belonged there. "You're leaving," he said. She nodded. "That was always the plan. It doesn't have to be." Lina looked at him, her eyes soft but steady. Ethan, your life is already written. I was just a small chapter. He stepped closer. What if I want to rewrite it? Her breath caught slightly. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Lina reached into her bag and pulled out a small envelope. I wasn't going to give you this, she admitted. But maybe you should decide after you read it. Ethan took it, confused. What is it? She smiled faintly, a hint of something unreadable in her expression. Just the truth. Before he could ask anything more, she turned and walked away, leaving him standing in the garden, the envelope trembling slightly in his hand. Ethan stared at it for a long moment. Then, slowly, he opened it. And his expression changed completely. Ethan's fingers tightened around the letter as his eyes scanned the page. At first, he didn't understand. Then he read it again. And everything shifted. The letter wasn't long, but every word mattered. Ethan, I didn't come here by accident. Your mother chose Clara, but she almost chose me first. His breath caught. Years ago, my mother worked for your family. Not as a servant, she was a floral designer. She created the very gardens you love. But when she fell ill, she was quietly dismissed. No recognition. No help. Nothing. Ethan's chest tightened. I came here because I wanted to see the place she gave her heart to. I wanted to understand the family that forgot her. I didn't expect to meet you. His grip loosened slightly. You're not what I thought you'd be. And that's the problem. He swallowed. Because if I stay, I won't be able to leave. At the bottom, a final line. If you come after me, Ethan, make sure it's not because you're running from your life, but because you're choosing me. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't think about expectations. He didn't think about his mother. He didn't think about Clara. He only thought about Lina. And the way everything had felt, real. Inside the estate, Clara Whitmore sat across from Mrs. Vale, calmly sipping tea. He's not coming, is he? Clara asked, her tone surprisingly light. Mrs. Vale frowned. He will. He just needs time. Clara smiled faintly. No. I don't think so. For a moment, the older woman said nothing. Then Clara set her cup down gently. You chose me because I fit your world. But he's already chosen something else. Mrs. Vale's expression hardened. And what exactly is that? Clara stood, smoothing her dress. Something you can't control. By the time Ethan reached the garden again, Lina was gone. But he didn't stop. He drove himself, no driver, no hesitation, straight into the city, following the only lead he had, the small floral shop mentioned at the bottom of the letter. The bell above the door chimed softly as he stepped inside. The shop was nothing like the grand estate. It was small, warm, filled with color and life, and unmistakably hers. Behind the counter stood Lina Reyes. She looked up. And froze. Ethan. He didn't speak immediately. For once, words didn't come easily. Then he held up the letter slightly. I read it. Her expression shifted, guarded, uncertain. Then you understand why I left. I do, he said. But that's not why I'm here. She searched his face. Then why are you here? Ethan stepped closer, his voice steady now. Not because I'm running from anything, he said. Not from my mother. Not from expectations. Not even from the life I've known. He paused, just a breath. I'm here because I choose you. The shop fell silent. Lina's eyes softened, but doubt still lingered. You say that now, she whispered. But your world isn't this place, Ethan. It never was. He glanced around, the imperfect shelves, the scattered petals, the quiet beauty. Maybe it wasn't, he admitted. But for the first time, it feels like it could be. Her breath caught. "And your mother?" she asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "She chose my bride. A small step closer. I'm choosing my life." For a long moment, Lina said nothing. Then, slowly, she walked around the counter until she stood in front of him. "You're really doing this," she said softly. "I already did," he replied. A quiet laugh escaped her, half disbelief, half relief. "You're going to make everything very complicated." Ethan's smile deepened. "I think you already did that." She shook her head, but this time, she didn't step away. Weeks later, the Vale estate looked different. Not because the marble changed. Not because the wealth disappeared. But because the garden, once carefully maintained for appearances, had transformed into something alive. Wild. Beautiful. Real. Just like the woman who now stood in it. Mrs. Vale watched from the balcony as Lina Reyes adjusted a cluster of flowers, completely at ease. Beside her, Ethan laughed, unrestrained, unguarded. For the first time, Mrs. Vale said nothing. Because for the first time, she understood her mistake. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan turned to Lina. "There's something I've been meaning to ask you," he said. She raised an eyebrow playfully. "That sounds serious." "It is." He reached into his pocket. Lina's breath caught slightly. But instead of a ring, he pulled out a small folded paper. She blinked. "What's that?" Ethan grinned. "A list." "A list?" "Places," he said. "Things I want to do. A life I want to build." He handed it to her. At the top, he added softly, "is you." Lina unfolded it slowly, her eyes scanning the page. Then she looked up at him, something warm and certain in her gaze. "Well," she said, smiling, "I guess we'd better get started." And this time, there was no plan written for them. Only a future they were finally choosing together.